Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And this is going to be our fifth video on the strategy for the variety of nations in Global War 1939. And we're going to start off with the Nationalist Chinese and the United States. They move and attack at the same time, do all their builds, all their actions are considered to be in concert with each other. And there's not a lot to say about China, except that you are going to be a punching bag. Just deal with it. There's just not a lot you can do. You can't get out of the way. And some people in 40, I know, do the whole abandon China thing for Japan. If Japan does that in this game, they lose the war. Japan needs to hang on to Manchuria and the East Coast here. They just have to. If they don't, the game's... no. It's not going to work for them. China will run rampant. The Soviets won't have anything to worry about. And Japan's throwing away an awful lot of money that they could be making. So, Nationalist China, there's a few interesting things about them. They do have the Burma Road in this, which is 5 links long. But only one is in China, Sichuan. They have their air base, they have their Flying Tiger there, and the Flying Tiger fighter, it actually will attack and defend at a +1, so it's a 7 on a D12 in defense and attack, which is kind of handy. There is an anti-aircraft gun there as well, and there's one in Kwangtung, just in case the Japanese try to use air power to take Kwangtung, which they just simply don't. They just come in here and take the territory with amphibious landings. Now, Nationalist China, you have really two choices, like you do in most of these games. Do you bulk up one territory and just wait for the Japanese to come and hit it, and hopefully you can take out a lot of their ground forces? Or do you keep every territory populated with 3 or 4 guys so that you chip away at them until they get to the prize, which is typically Sichuan, and make them suffer, you know, the death of 1,000 cuts on the way through? Take your pick, folks. I have yet to see a tried and true method in this. It all depends on what the Japanese player does. Now, the Japanese player has very few ground forces to start the war, but the ones he has are pretty potent. These are the veterans, these red ones, and they attack at a 4 and a 5 if they have an artillery with them. And that's pretty potent. You want to avoid them at all costs, but the thing is they can't build those, so the Japanese tend to be a little cautious with them. But they started a state of war with both Nationalist and Communist China, and Communist China, as you saw in my Soviet video, they are done during the Soviet turn. Okay, they are very, very anemic at the beginning, but for some reason they tend to grow. As the Japanese, for some reason, just, I guess they don't look at them as much of a threat. And every turn they put on a guy. So by turn 4, now they got 9 infantry and an artillery. And that could be a tough nut to crack when paired up with the nationalist troops, which tend to grow quite well. China, Nationalist China, if the Communist Chinese come into your territory, it turns that territory communist. Alright, you cannot attack, right? The Chinese cannot attack each other, but the Communist Chinese will turn territory into Communist Chinese territory. Not a good idea. Now sometimes you say, oh, I'm gonna, you know, the Japanese come in and maybe they take Shenxi. And then the Communists say, hey, they've only got one guy left, we'll come in and we'll free it and we'll rescue you. Problem is that when Mao and his boys come in there, they actually turn the place communist, and it stays communist, which means Chiang Kai-shek it might as well be Japanese guys in there. He's lost the money for it and he can't get it back. So the Communist Chinese have to be very careful about what they do. Talk with your American and Nationalist Chinese partner when you are the Soviet Communist Chinese player. Okay, talk with them and really discuss if they want you coming in and saving them. So the Nationalist Chinese, there you go. You're allowed to go into all the yellow spaces of the mainland here. You're allowed to go into Hong Kong. And you're also allowed to go into French Indochina and Saigon. So you can go in there. And Saigon's worth 3, which is nice. Problem is, Siam is probably going to be pretty heavily fortified by the Japanese by that point, so it could be a little annoying. Alright, so now on to the Americans. The Americans have an interesting way to play because they have an interesting starting setup here. It's very, very sparsely set up, and it says their production is worth 80, and they start with 20 bucks. So yeah, their production is worth 80. If you add up all their spots and all of their convoy zones and all the rest, yep, they make 80. And they got not a bad little fleet out here. Okay, looks not too bad until you take a glance over here and you say, yeah, we're not in the majors yet. So America has some big decisions to make. You're going to be rolling every turn and adding money. You start at 0. You start at 0 and you roll and you add money with 2 D12s. And when you get to 80, so each turn you roll 2 D12s. When you finally get to 80, you can declare war. Unless you're attacked first, then of course you can. You're going to be at war. Problem is, if you roll horribly, it could take you 6 or 7 turns to get into the war. Now that's rare because there's some things that happen that help you out. One is when Paris gets taken, you go up 5 bucks. So usually you actually start the game at 5 because Germany goes first, of course, and they'll attack Paris and take it, and then you get your nickel. Also, if the Japanese do some undeclared attacks on you, or your allies, your numbers will go up. I'll just do a little thing here. You can freeze it here if you want and kind of read. That bottom one that says Japan attacks Australia and New Zealand, you get a +2. That should be a +25. We're going to treat that the same as the one above it. And so that'll add, there's ways to add things to the Japanese, or to the American economy. Alright? But some rules about the Americans. 1. When you sail, you must go to another American territory. You cannot go to where there's a Japanese territory and stay there. You can't go to where there's Australian territory and stay there. You must go to American territory. So if this destroyer in the Philippines wants to kind of get the heck out of Dodge, he can go to Guam. He can go up to Wake, okay, and then go to Hawaii. He can go to Midway if he wants, Johnson Island, Line Islands, if you're really feeling adventuresome for some reason. But that's all you can do. And you cannot stay out in the middle. So you see these blank ones here, blank sea zones, 119, you can't go there. Okay, you can go through it, but you can't stay there. So in the Japanese video, you can see the Japanese opening move is a devastating attack where the Americans don't get to shoot back on the first round, and every round after that, all the ships are -2. It means destroyers are shooting at a 2 and subs go down to a minimum of 1. So yeah, whatever you built is just going to get ravaged. So it's important to try to avoid that. Well, how can you avoid it? Well, you can't. But you can minimize the damage. So if we look here, we have American coastline here in 133, 137, you got 140, and 139. So those are 4 places that you can divvy up right there. You've also got Hawaii, right? You got Midway, you got the Johnson Island here. Okay, you could go to Guam, but why? So you can split up your forces here. Now the nice thing about splitting up your forces is that Japan has 3 sneak attacks, and if you've got your fleet in 5 chunks, it can only really destroy 3 of the chunks, and then the other 2 could be in a nice position to counterattack the following turn. Okay, this is the spot Japan can come and sit just to be ultimately annoying in 131. Okay, so if they come and sit there, you have got to really, really make sure you spread out the fleet so they can't get you. Alright, very quickly to this side. Again, you can't go anywhere unless it's American territory. So here you go. You can go to the Caribbean. You can come down to Panama if you want and hang out there, up to New England, hang out in the Gulf of Mexico, have fun. That's all you can do. You can't go out to convoy zones and protect them. You can't do any of that stuff. Because really the convoy zones aren't in play. So they don't even exist yet because you're not convoying because you're not at war. Alright? really depends on what you want to do. Your main problem is going to be Japan. And the strategy that a lot of people do is Operation Torch. They're going to bring stuff over here to Morocco and then try to hop up either into the Med. And in the last game, if you saw the gameplay video, we were sending things across to Bordeaux and landing and Normandy. And then we built naval port in Bordeaux because it gets destroyed. You build another naval port in Bordeaux, and then you just get going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, dropping things off. Yep, you can absolutely do that. Watch the gameplay video if you have the time to see how America did that. The Philippines is going to fall. It only has one unit. It does have Fort Drum, though. It's a nice little marker I got from Historical Board Gaming. It's only a couple bucks, and I think it looks really nice. And it's a victory city, and that's the thing you got to look for in this game. Just like in 40, Japan can look like it's actually starting to get shellacked a little bit, but as long as it holds on to Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and Manila, and Tokyo, and maybe they scooped Hawaii, things can go pretty badly, because in this game it's 12 victory cities for all of the axis on the entire board. And so you've really got to keep your eyes open and pay really close attention to the numbers of victory cities that are happening. And America typically has the best chance to stop the Japanese. In my other videos I talked about how Anzac and Calcutta try to do their thing, Far East Command there, but they're pretty anemic, and America's going to have a punch. They're going to start the game. Once they're in the game, even after the Philippines falls and maybe Guam, America, even if they're getting convoyed, should still be around $80 to $90, because they'll have 80 and they have a plus 20 NO just for holding on to their own stuff. Please be advised that San Francisco can be taken thanks to the Japanese sneak attack. I've seen it, I experienced it, I hated it, and it took forever to get back in the game. That's pretty much it, folks. There's some special rules for the Americans and whatnot I won't get into here. This is just kind of some strategy ideas. Just build everything up as best you can. Maybe even sometimes save your money. Wait for the Japanese to make their move and then plop down 3 battleships and a couple of loaded carriers and 15 planes or something and hammer them on the west coast. All sorts of great ideas, folks, and I'll be doing another video highlighting other things. Please leave your comments below and your questions, and I really appreciate. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, folks. Keep smiling, and may the dice be with you.